I'm in New York City for a United Nations open source day. My daughter says I should start recording video when I go places. And that's always a little bit weird for me because I don't know what to say. And I feel a bit self-conscious talking to the air. But here we are. I am on 40th, I think, at 2nd Avenue. And I'm on my way to the United Nations. Mostly what they're discussing this week is the cross-section of open source and artificial intelligence. And the human rights issues surrounding that, because, of course, all of the open source, or rather all of the AI, is controlled by American corporations. And there's been quite a lot of anti-oligarch kind of talk that is, pretty obviously pointing at certain wealthy individuals who control access to the artificial intelligence infrastructure. So that's been interesting. There's been a lot of emphasis on digital sovereignty, which is the notion that nations and businesses and anyone really should control their own destiny and not have to rely on foreign governments, foreign corporations for all of their technology needs. Anyway, I've never been a real big fan of New York City. The infrastructure is objectively terrible. Everything's under construction, the streets are full of potholes, but I'm finding that I hate it a lot less than I expected to. It's not nearly as filthy as I anticipated. I haven't seen a single rat, at least not of the four-legged variety. And the food scene's pretty amazing. There's an interesting restaurant on every street, although I haven't really got a chance to go to most of them because I've had other obligations that have been consuming my meal times. I went to an interesting Greek place yesterday for lunch. That was good. And last night, I sat up half the night with Sander Stryker, solving the problems of the world. So I'm exhausted this morning. I'm almost down to 1st Avenue, which is where the United Nations is. There's something going on the corner down here. I don't know what it is. A bunch of people lined up. And security. And a bunch of police cars. So let's see what this is. That's a lot of police officers. Excuse me, sir. All right, I'm down to 1st Avenue, and there is the famous United Nations building. That's where I'm going. And I don't know what was happening there. Maybe I'll find out later. There's all of the flags. I'm also kind of surprised at how hot it is. It has been super hot the entire time I've been here. And so by the time I get to work, I'm sweating, which is, really professional. I looked for the Kenya flag yesterday. I never did find it, but here are all of the flags of the United Nations out in front, and there's a great big building. When I was a kid, we always had a picture in the living room of the United Nations building and Jesus knocking on the side of it. And that represented the call of missions to the world, I think. And I know that I came here when I was a little kid, but I do not remember it at all. Although there's a little statue inside that I do remember, and I'll show that to you in a minute. I presume they won't let me have my camera out when I go through security, so there'll be a little blip here as I go through the security check. I still don't see the Kenya flag. Maybe you'll catch it as I'm going by. There's several that have the same colors, obviously. I don't see the Kenya flag. All right. I'm approaching security here, so I'm gonna shut down for a minute. All right. I am inside the grounds of the United Nations, and when I came in here yesterday, I thought that I remembered this statue, and obviously this represents the end of violence, the end of war. But then I realized that the statue had only been here since 1988. And I know that I have not been here since 1988. So I presume I was remembering something different. I don't know what that would be. Anyway, there's that. Kind of a cool statue. I suppose that one might say that it is anti-American. Who knows? So here's a QR code that you can scan for your own tour of this statue. So, moving along. Here is the front doors, and as we come in, we will see everyone's hero, Nelson Mandela. There's Nelson. And then over here we have the wall with all of the past Secretary Generals of the United Nations. So we have Ban Ki-moon and Kofi Annan, Boutros Ghali, Javier Suela, Kurt Waldheim, and that takes me back to when I was born, so I didn't know these guys, but I remember all those other names. And there's a art exhibit in here, which is super cool, but now I have to go to work. So that's it. That's my morning monologue, and maybe I'll do it again tomorrow, take a different route here.